Imagine lying in bed, staring at the ceiling for what feels like hours. Your body exhausted, but your mind racing. You check the clock. 2:43 a.m. Another night slipping away. You think, maybe just one more pill, even though deep down, you know it's not the answer. Now imagine this. Within just 3 nights, you could fall asleep easily, stay asleep for 8 solid hours, and wake up feeling completely refreshed, without a single pill, supplement, or gadget. Sounds impossible? New research says it's not. Scientists are calling it a revolution in natural sleep science. A breathing technique so simple, so ancient, yet so overlooked, that it's replacing sleeping pills for people around the world. It all started with a group of neuroscientists studying ancient breathing practices in Japan and India. They found that one particular pattern of breathing activates a powerful sleep response in the brain, switching off stress hormones and guiding the body into deep, restorative rest faster than most pharmaceuticals. What's more, in controlled trials, participants who practiced this technique for just 3 nights reported falling asleep 40% faster and sleeping 90% more deeply. It's not magic. It's biology. And it's been hidden in plain sight for centuries. We live in a world that glorifies productivity, but forgets the necessity of rest. Every year, more than 1/3 of adults report struggling with sleep, and the numbers keep climbing. Screens glow late into the night, caffeine fuels our mornings, and anxiety fills the spaces in between. The modern world has turned sleep, once the body's most natural rhythm, into a nightly battle. We rush through our days overstimulated, then lie awake, wondering why our minds refuse to quiet down. The truth is simple, but uncomfortable. We have forgotten how to rest. Insomnia has become so normalized that people wear it like a badge of honor. "I only got 4 hours," someone says, half proud. But beneath that pride hides exhaustion, irritability, and declining health. Chronic sleep deprivation affects everything, from memory and focus to blood pressure and immune function. Studies show that losing even 1 hour of sleep consistently can shorten your lifespan and accelerate aging. Yet most of us push through, numbing the fatigue with coffee or medication, never addressing the root cause. Technology plays its part too. The blue light from our phones tricks the brain into thinking it's still daylight, suppressing melatonin, the hormone that helps us drift off. Social media, news, and endless scrolling keep our nervous systems in a constant state of alert. Even when we turn off the screen, our brains are still racing. We've built a culture that prizes doing over being, and our sleep is paying the price. And when the nights grow unbearable, we reach for shortcuts, a pill, a supplement, a glass of wine. For a while, it works. But slowly, we lose the natural rhythm that once guided our bodies to rest. We forget how it feels to fall asleep easily, to wake up energized without chemicals. We forget that the body already knows how to heal. It just needs the right signal. That's where breathing comes in. Not just any breathing, but a specific rhythm that communicates directly with your nervous system, telling it, you are safe. It's time to rest. In the next part, we'll uncover why sleeping pills, though convenient, might be sabotaging that very signal, and how a natural alternative could restore what was never truly lost. Sleeping pills promise relief, a quick fix for sleepless nights. You take one, drift into a hazy calm, and for a moment, it feels like victory. But the truth hiding behind that temporary peace is far more complex. What these pills give with one hand, they often take away with the other. Over time, they don't restore natural sleep. They replace it with something artificial, shallow, and incomplete. Most prescription sleeping aids work by sedating the nervous system. They dull the brain's activity, forcing it to shut down rather than allowing it to naturally drift into rest. That distinction matters. True sleep is not unconsciousness. It's a delicate process in which the body repairs tissues, balances hormones, and consolidates memory. When you chemically override that process, you may lose the very benefits sleep is meant to provide. That's why many users report waking up groggy, unfocused, and emotionally flat. Their bodies slept, but their minds didn't heal. The body also builds tolerance quickly. What works tonight might not work next week. The dosage creeps upward, dependence deepens, and soon the thought of sleeping without a pill feels terrifying. It's not just habit, it's chemistry. The brain's own sleep-regulating mechanisms begin to weaken as the drug takes over. In essence, your body forgets how to sleep on its own. Even worse, sleeping pills can disrupt REM cycles, the most restorative phase of sleep, linked to emotional regulation and creativity. Without enough REM, people often experience mood swings, anxiety, and even mild hallucinations. Ironically, a pill meant to cure sleeplessness can intensify the very restlessness it was meant to calm. And then there are the side effects: dizziness, memory lapses, dependency, and even rebound insomnia. When you stop taking the medication, your sleeplessness returns, stronger than before. For some, it becomes a lifelong loop. Pills to sleep, caffeine to wake, and a body caught in chemical confusion. But the most tragic part isn't physical, it's spiritual. In silencing our natural rhythms, we lose touch with one of life's most sacred experiences: the surrender of sleep, the nightly return to peace. What if instead of forcing sleep through chemicals, we could invite it back through understanding? What if the body, when listened to, already held the key? That key, as recent discoveries reveal, lies in something we do 20,000 times a day, something we've taken for granted since birth: the breath. The breakthrough came quietly. A team of neuroscientists and sleep researchers from Japan, India, and the United States began studying ancient breathing patterns once used by monks and yogis to induce calmness before meditation. Their hypothesis was bold. If these techniques could slow brain activity and regulate the nervous system, perhaps they could also trigger the onset of deep sleep naturally. At first, it sounded improbable. How could breathing, something so ordinary, compete with modern pharmacology? But when they tested it, the results were undeniable. Brain scans showed that specific rhythmic breathing patterns could shift the brain from an alert beta state into the slower alpha and theta waves associated with relaxation and sleep onset. Within minutes, the body's stress response, marked by cortisol and adrenaline, dropped dramatically. The parasympathetic nervous system, often called the rest and digest mode, took over. This was not hypnosis nor placebo. It was pure physiology. By adjusting the rhythm of the breath, subjects were literally instructing their nervous system to prepare for rest. What was even more remarkable was how fast it worked. In controlled studies, participants who practiced the technique for just 3 nights reported falling asleep 40% faster and experiencing fewer nighttime awakenings. But this discovery wasn't entirely new. It was a rediscovery, a return to wisdom that ancient traditions had preserved for centuries. In yoga, it's known as pranayama, the art of controlling life force through the breath. In Japanese Zen practice, monks used kokyuho, breath methods to still the mind. Tibetan monks spoke of sleep yoga, where conscious breathing guided them into lucid rest. Though the languages differed, the message was the same. Mastery over breath is mastery over the mind. Modern life, however, has severed that connection. Our breathing has become shallow, irregular, and tense, mirroring the stress we carry. The ancient masters understood that breath is not just oxygen exchange. It is communication with the body's deepest systems. When you breathe rhythmically, the heart, lungs, and brain synchronize. When that harmony breaks, so does sleep. The scientists took these principles and translated them into a precise, evidence-based method, one that could be taught to anyone. No chanting, no complex postures, just a pattern. Inhale, hold, exhale, pause. Each step timed to recalibrate the body's internal clock. It was the fusion of ancient knowledge and modern neuroscience, and for the first time, a natural, repeatable formula for deep, restorative sleep was born. To understand why this breathing technique works, we need to look at the delicate dance between the brain, the lungs, and the nervous system. Every breath you take is a signal, a message to your body about how safe you feel. When your breathing is short and erratic, your brain assumes danger. It floods your bloodstream with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, keeping you alert, tense, and unable to rest. But when your breath is deep, slow, and rhythmic, a very different message is sent, one that tells your body it can finally let go. This conversation between a breath and brain happens through the vagus nerve, a long, wandering nerve that connects the brain to the heart, lungs, and digestive organs. The vagus nerve is the primary switch of the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's natural relaxation mode. When you slow your breathing intentionally, you stimulate this nerve, which lowers your heart rate, reduces blood pressure, and quiets neural activity in the stress centers of the brain. It's like flipping a biological off switch for anxiety. Research from Harvard and Stanford has shown that slow breathing, especially with a longer exhale, increases heart rate variability, a key indicator of nervous system balance and resilience. When HRV rises, the body's more capable of transitioning smoothly between states of stress and relaxation. In other words, you gain control over your internal rhythm. This is what allows sleep to happen naturally, without chemical interference. At the same time, controlled breathing affects the production of melatonin, the hormone that regulates the sleep-wake cycle. When your breath slows, the pineal gland receives a signal that it's time to release melatonin. Your body temperature drops slightly, your muscles relax, and your thoughts begin to drift. You don't force sleep. You allow it. What's fascinating is that this process aligns perfectly with what brainwave studies reveal. When participants practice this breathing pattern for even 10 minutes before bed, their EEG readings shift from fast, alert beta waves to slower alpha and theta waves, the same state achieved during the early stages of sleep or deep meditation. The body begins to mimic sleep physiology before the person is even fully asleep. It's as though the breath acts as a bridge between consciousness and rest. Scientists call this the neuro-respiratory connection. Spiritual teachers call it life energy in motion. Whatever name you choose, the principle is the same. Your breath is the remote control for your mind. Every inhalation fuels life. Every exhalation invites surrender. When you learn to use both with intention, you reclaim authority over your body's most ancient rhythm. the rhythm that governs rest, healing, and peace. For thousands of years, spiritual traditions have whispered what science is only now beginning to confirm: that the breath is sacred. Across civilizations, breath has been seen not just as a function of survival, but as the essence of life itself. The Sanskrit word prana means both breath and life force. In ancient China, it was called qi, the invisible energy that flows through all living things. In Japan, it was known as ki. In Hebrew, ruach, spirit, breath, and soul intertwined. No matter the culture, the message was the same: to master the breath is to master the self. These ancient teachers understood that breath is the meeting point between body and spirit. You cannot see it, yet it sustains every heartbeat, every thought, every cell. It connects the conscious and the unconscious, the bridge between your physical body and your subtle energy. In moments of fear, your breath tightens. In moments of peace, it expands. This subtle rhythm mirrors the state of your spirit. That's why the ancients made breath the foundation of meditation, prayer, and healing. From a spiritual perspective, sleeplessness is not just a physical problem. It's a sign of inner imbalance. It means the mind has lost harmony with the body's natural rhythm. In ancient texts, sleep was seen as a sacred reunion with the divine, a nightly surrender of the ego into the vastness of the unconscious. Through breath, they believed, one could prepare the soul for that surrender. Every slow inhalation was a reminder of life entering. Every gentle exhalation, a release of control, a letting go of the day's noise. This is why breath practices were often used by monks and mystics before sleep. They didn't think of it as falling asleep. They thought of it as returning to source. The stillness that follows conscious breathing is not empty. It's full of presence, the same deep calm found in nature's silence. When you breathe this way, you don't force peace. You align with it. Today, as science measures brain waves and hormones, spirituality offers something just as vital: meaning. Breathing techniques are not only about calming the nervous system. They're about remembering that you are more than your stress, more than your racing thoughts. You are part of a living, breathing universe that moves in rhythm. When you align your breath with that rhythm, you reconnect with the part of yourself that already knows how to rest, how to trust, how to be still. Now that you understand both the science and the spiritual wisdom behind this practice, it's time to learn the actual breathing technique. The one that research has shown can replace sleeping pills and restore your body's natural ability to rest. This method is simple, yet its effects are profound. You don't need equipment, supplements, or a special environment. All you need is consistency, presence, and a few quiet minutes before bed. Begin by preparing your space. Turn off all bright lights, silence notifications, and allow your room to be dim. Lie down comfortably on your back, or sit with your spine straight. The goal is relaxation, not perfection. Place one hand on your chest and one on your abdomen. This helps you feel the movement of your breath. As you inhale, your belly should rise gently. As you exhale, it should fall. The chest should move very little. Most of the motion should come from the abdomen. This alone begins to calm your body, signaling the nervous system that it's safe. The breathing sequence is divided into 4 phases: inhale, hold, exhale, and pause. Think of it as a gentle wave, flowing smoothly without force. Here's how to do it. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 seconds. Feel the air travel deep into your lungs, expanding your abdomen like a soft balloon. This inhalation nourishes the body with oxygen and resets your heart rhythm. Then hold your breath for 7 seconds. During this hold, allow stillness to fill your mind. This moment of suspension quiets internal chatter and deepens the connection between your breath and your heartbeat. Next, exhale gently through your mouth for 8 seconds. Let the air flow out in a smooth, controlled stream, as if you were softly blowing through a straw. This long exhale is the most crucial part. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system and triggers a cascade of calming responses throughout the body. When you've emptied your lungs, pause briefly for 2 seconds before inhaling again. That pause represents surrender, a symbolic letting go before beginning the next cycle. Repeat this sequence for 4 full rounds at first. Over time, you can increase to 8 or even 12. The entire process should feel effortless, like waves on the shore. If your mind drifts, gently bring your attention back to the sensation of air moving in and out. Feel how each breath becomes slower, softer, quieter. You may notice a light tingling in your fingers or a subtle warmth spreading through your chest, signs that your body is entering deep relaxation. As you continue, your heart rate begins to slow. Your thoughts fade like clouds passing through a clear sky. Within minutes, your brain shifts into a state of tranquil awareness. The need to control disappears. You might find yourself yawning or feeling heavy, as though gravity is pulling you into rest. When that happens, don't resist. Let yourself drift. The breath will carry you. Do this for 3 consecutive nights before sleep. Not during stressful moments of the day, not in front of a screen, but in stillness, with full attention. Many people notice results as early as the first session. Some describe it as the body remembering how to sleep. What's really happening is that you are retraining your nervous system, teaching it to associate the rhythm of the breath with safety and surrender. The best part? There are no side effects, no withdrawals, no rebound insomnia, only restoration. The kind that begins at the very core of your being. When practiced consistently, this technique becomes more than a sleep aid. It becomes a nightly ritual of reconnection, a return to balance, and a gentle reminder that peace has always been within your reach, waiting behind each breath. By the 3rd night, something begins to change. It's subtle at first. Maybe you notice that your body feels heavier when you lie down, or that your thoughts no longer spiral endlessly before sleep. The tension that once sat behind your eyes and your jaw and your chest starts to dissolve. You begin to feel a softness, a quiet comfort that feels both new and deeply familiar. For the first time in what might be months or years, you fall asleep without trying. People who have practiced this technique consistently report something almost miraculous. The first night brings calm, but not always instant sleep. The second night, the breathing becomes smoother, almost automatic. By the 3rd night, the body recognizes the pattern. The brain associates the rhythm with rest and begins to respond more quickly. You fall asleep faster, sometimes within minutes, and stay asleep longer. The sleep itself feels different, deeper, richer, more refreshing. In one recent study, participants who used this breathing method nightly for just 3 days experienced measurable improvements in sleep quality. Their heart rate variability increased, stress hormone levels dropped, and EEG readings showed longer durations of restorative slow-wave sleep. But the most powerful evidence isn't found in charts. It's in how they felt Upon waking, many described a feeling of lightness as if their minds had been gently washed clean. Morning fog replaced with mental clarity, irritability replaced with ease. Even the emotional landscape begins to shift. Those who once woke up anxious or restless found themselves starting the day with a quiet sense of steadiness. It wasn't just better sleep. It was balance returning to the nervous system. The body, once caught in cycles of tension and exhaustion, was learning to self-regulate again. Some practitioners report dreams returning, vivid, colorful, sometimes meaningful. This is a sign that REM cycles are being restored, allowing emotional processing to resume naturally. Others notice their energy throughout the day stabilizing, no longer spiking and crashing with caffeine or sugar. Their faces soften, eyes brighten, and posture relaxes. The transformation isn't dramatic or forced. It's gentle, organic, as if nature itself were guiding them back to harmony. What's most astonishing is that this technique doesn't require belief. Whether you approach it as science, spirituality, or simple relaxation, it works just the same. The breath doesn't discriminate. It only listens to rhythm and consistency. And in that rhythm lies the memory of what your body has always known: how to rest, how to heal, and how to return to peace. As the days turn into weeks, the changes deepen. What began as a simple breathing exercise to fall asleep becomes something far greater. A quiet transformation that ripples through every layer of your life. You start noticing that you no longer carry the same restlessness throughout the day. Mornings become peaceful instead of rushed. The fog that once lingered behind your eyes lifts, replaced by a sense of calm alertness. You move through your day with more presence, less tension, and an ease that feels almost foreign at first. The long-term benefits of this technique extend far beyond sleep. When practiced regularly, it reshapes the nervous system's baseline, teaching the body to live in balance rather than constant defense. The parasympathetic system, the body's natural rest mode, becomes dominant again, reducing stress levels, lowering blood pressure, and improving digestion. The immune system strengthens as inflammation subsides. Over time, this one nightly ritual begins to reverse years of accumulated stress. Your emotional state transforms too. Anxiety, once a constant companion, begins to lose its grip. The mind, soothed by rhythm, stops chasing every intrusive thought. Emotions feel more fluid, less overwhelming. You begin to notice space between stimulus and response, the power to pause before reacting. This emotional stability spills into relationships, work, and creativity. The same breath that calmed you to sleep now keeps you grounded through life's chaos. Spiritually, many describe it as a return to wholeness. Breathing consciously each night is like peeling back the noise that hides your truest self. You start to realize that peace isn't something to achieve. It's something to remember. As you surrender each night into the breath, you reconnect with the vast stillness that underlies everything. Sleep becomes more than rest. It becomes communion, a merging with silence, with being itself. There are physical transformations too. People often find that their skin improves, digestion steadies, and energy levels rise. Hormonal balance begins to normalize as the body returns to its natural circadian rhythm. Even creativity flourishes. With the mind no longer dulled by exhaustion, ideas flow more freely. What was once fatigue is replaced by inspiration. And all of this entire cascade of renewal, begins with something as simple as breathing. Not a pill, not a product, but a practice. A way of remembering what your body has known since birth. That the rhythm of the breath is the rhythm of life itself. By reclaiming it, you reclaim your vitality, your focus, your joy. Night after night, the practice becomes less of an effort and more of a homecoming. You lie down, breathe deeply, and your body responds with gratitude. It doesn't need to be convinced anymore. It knows the way. The breath leads you there, to that sacred space where healing happens naturally, silently, effortlessly. You awaken each morning renewed, and as the days unfold, you realize that sleep was never the goal. It was the doorway back to yourself. If you've made it this far, you already understand something profound, that the solution to sleeplessness doesn't come from outside of you. It doesn't come from a bottle, a machine, or a screen. It comes from within, from the quiet intelligence of your own body, waiting for you to listen. This breathing technique isn't just about sleep, it's about remembering the simplest truth. Peace is your natural state. You were designed to rest, to heal, to wake renewed. All it takes is trust and a few conscious breaths. So tonight, when you lie down, don't chase sleep. Invite it. Let your breath become your guide. Inhale deeply through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 7. Exhale for 8. Feel the rhythm. Let each cycle melt the tension, quiet the mind, and soften the heart. Do it for 3 nights. Just 3. Watch what happens. Watch how your body responds, how your thoughts slow, how your dreams return. Watch how life begins to feel lighter. You don't need to believe in it for it to work. You just need to begin. Start tonight. Give yourself the gift of stillness, the gift of breathing consciously. When you do, you'll discover what countless others have already found, that the power to sleep, to heal, and to live peacefully has always been right here, within you, in the quiet miracle of your breath.